Hello everybody. We are going to finish that triple effect brocade cane. Hi Donna. What I thought of doing, because I'm not sure that this specific one would work very good because remember initially it was supposed to be pretty much like this. Sorry. And with something here in the middle, I realized that this one doesn't really work very good for a corner. Hi Jessica, hi Janine, hi Ellen. So I think I'm going to keep this one for the bottom and actually make a new one here for the top of the triangle. So because remember I have from all the Skinner blends I did it was 2 weeks ago, because I did one after another. Hi Carol, hi Elaine, hi Gail. I'm going to use these, but because I want it to be a little bit more in the style of these two, because see what I'm talking about, this one has lines, this one has lines starting from the corner, this one is kind of skewed, it doesn't really have enough to create a good brocade type effect, so I'm going to use it for the bottom. Hi Lenda, hi Isabel. So in order to create another one, I'm going to actually make a sausage first. It's not going to stay a sausage. I mean, it's going to be just a quarter of a sausage. Hi Shell. And yes, I have so much stuff on my table right now, it's unreal. But I'm hoping to be able to get where I'm supposed to get real soon. Yesterday, I guess I was still recovering from all my gardening thing, because I had all areas of muscles hurting. You know how it is when you do physical exercise and the first day you're just tired and want to sleep. The second day you're and the third day it kind of hits you. Hi Ruby, hi Beth, hi Susan. Thank you Susan. Okay, so I would have to, this one should be okay in 2. But I think that what I'm going to do a little bit of this being more ikatish, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get it thinner. So pretty much this. Yeah, it's not easy, and especially now I have to take a few days rest, not just from because of the pain, but also because of the heat. I had to turn down the AC right before starting this because I realized it was still a bit too hot in here. I told you before that in here it can get pretty hot when the big computer is on, for the simple reason that it's a big computer, it's got a lot of fans and a lot of things, so it can pretty heat up the area around it. Okay, and I do have some air trapped here. There we go. Let me make this one into a thin sausage. Yeah, they just said that probably starting the end of the next week, Oklahoma is going to get in the... We usually have anywhere from mid-June to about mid-August. We get the 100 degrees days, and sometimes it can be more than 30 days, one after the other, you know, with just 100 degrees. And that's also the drought time. So I need to make sure to go out there and clean the bird bath and fill my hummingbird feeders. Because this year, I don't know, my hardy hibiscuses died. So it's something I'm not very happy about. And this one I'm going to leave it in as it is. I'm gonna have two. Let me get this thin. Make another little sausage. Yeah, I noticed that for several days the severe weather seems to be mostly in the north of the country. I was noticing on the Mesonet Outlook from NOAA. But hold on, let me see. Yeah, there's still some. Today, tomorrow's not going to be that bad. See, today you still have quite a bit. There's some risk of tornadoes. The wind and the hail seem to be the worst, but tomorrow it's not that bad. But here it's just fine, I guess. Okay. So let me roll this one into a sausagey thing. And let's start building. Actually, I need to cut this black too. And as I said before, don't always get, oh my god, this is not perfect. When you're talking organic canes like this, it's fine. Only when you're doing geometric canes, you have to be very, very careful about how do you do this and how you do that. Hi, Marietta. Not too bad. Honestly, it's not too bad. Okay, Now these I'm going to place on the black. Hi, Chris. Okay, this is a little too long, but that's fine. Let's see if I place this. So these are going to be like this. This is the top and this is the bottom. Okay. So if I want to place anything here, of course I need to cut this extra. But with this being in the corner, if I want to bring something out, I'm going to have to bring it pretty much like this. Let me get this black on the other side as well. This should be enough. All right. Okay, so this is the top, and I'm going to pinch this, and I'm going to pinch this. Let's say this is going to be here, and the other one I'm gonna do the same thing but come with it from the other corner. So pinch the ends, the green end and the white end. So if this comes in here, I'm just trying to figure out the design of this. Let me see. Okay, so let me put this on black first. Oops. On both sides. Pinch a little on the white side, pinch a little on the red side. And again, I'm gonna take the little cane bender thingy, the round one. Remember, these ones you get them from Tiny Pandora, and I love using them also as rollers. They work awesome as mini rollers. So the red side, I'm going to use the little cane bender, press a little bit and then a roll like this, and I'm going to place the green and white thing that I did before, and on the white side again I'm going to use, but I'm going on the other end. I flipped it and I'm going on the other end. Again, I'm going to use the cane bender and then bend this over like this. And just to be on the pretty and neat side, so I have the same thing showing up on all the cane as you slice through it. Hello, sweet pea. Finnegan just came to mama. And then I'm going to place the red and white one. And I'm going to gently start. Excuse me. If you remember, I did the... I'm not cutting here because it looks pretty good. If you remember, I have in my basic canes playlist, there is a cane that's called the Greek key. Hi, Golden. And that one has something similar to this, but you'll see it's a really neat effect that you get, and it's all with the Skinner blends and things. You might want to give it a try. All right. Now let's place some, let's make a sausage, a larger sausage. Oh, the best way to start a sausage is first make a ball. And press real good so you don't get air bubbles. Press and press and press and press, and then use only this part of your palm. Do not use your fingers because you're going to leave grooves. So use only this part of your palm to start the sausage. And then you can start using a little bit your acrylic block to get it going. So let me see, how thick do I want it? And remember to make everything even. Hold on this end and gently come down with the acrylic block, and you'll get a very even and nice. Hi, Natalia. You'll get a very even and nice sausage thingy. Now I'm going to place the sausage thingy, going to use again the cane bender and bringing the green part up. Place sausage, black sausage this time. And bring it over some. The same for this one. So green side, because we did the green side here. Green side, use the cane bender, or you can use a pencil, you can use the handle of a paintbrush, because it's much better to get a cane bender. But if you don't have one, or you cannot afford one, you can use any of those. Okay, now remember that this is supposed to be a quarter of a circle. So do I want the white? Yeah, I want this one in the middle. So this is going to be in the middle. Let me actually cut this to a quarter of a circle. because it's easier to see what I'm doing. I mean, I can envision it in my mind, but for you as watchers, it's not as easy as it is for me to figure out what the heck I'm doing here. Okay, so this is going to be here. Then I come practically, see how I pinched here, remember? I'm going to place the pinch here like this, so obviously I need a filling here, and I'm going to need one for the other side, so let me make this sausage thinner so I can use it as fillers. And get rid of this yellow here. So I'm going to need the filler sausage here, and obviously I'm going to need the filler sausage here. So one here and one here. Make sure they are well placed in both sides, and then the quarter of a circle here. And there we go, we have a triangle. Obviously I need to place some filler here and a filler here. Make sure that this yellow here fits well. I made it a little bit too big, so I'm going to have to reduce it more than these other ones, but then I can do something with it also. Remember, I showed you last time how you can use any of these to create very pretty painted like beads. And as I said before, you don't have to make this exact design. That's why I showed you how to do these in various ways, just using nice, you can use all kinds of other colors. In this one I just wanted to use a black background with a nice vibrant, rich and happy colors. Pretty, huh? I didn't cut all the way. And there we go. And yeah, this black I got, it's also of the soft kind, so it's not that awesome. So this time it looks better. Let me cut the same here. Are they the same size? Pretty much, yes. And I'm going to need quite a bit of black. As I said, this cane is going to be pretty darn big, so I hope I'll be able to reduce it. Okay, so this goes here, one of them goes in the corner here, one of them goes in the corner here, pretty much, and this goes here. Actually, this one I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, so that I don't make the cane too huge. And then remember that on each of these you can make a separate, like I showed you last time, you can make a separate brocade cane. A little bit more. Thank you. Okay. I thought somebody was going to say, man, that's a lot of clay. Alrighty, okay. Just a pinch more. Okay. And about this long. So they're going to be pretty much like this. So I still need to fill all this with black. So it's gonna be a lot of black, obviously. Oops, this one has white in it. Goodness, I almost messed it up. I mean, it wasn't a real mess because the black is so strong that you need quite a bit of color to change it to enough to be noticeable, but still. There have been a lot of pasta machine working. Okay, so this should be enough. And I'm not going to pass it through the machine too much because it's very soft. As I said before, I got the black that I got is as soft as the one that I had before, even if the package is changed. It's still super soft. Now, obviously, I need quite a bit here. And remember, always, this is how I do it, and you can do it the same. I find it that it's the easiest for me to overfill and then just cut off the excess, you know, when I'm trying to obtain a certain shape. So here I'm gonna put these one on top of the other. I'm going to cut diagonal, and then because these are supposed to be pretty much like this, right? So I need something that would go in here on a diagonal. So pretty much this. Here I'm lazy. I normally should take that out and cut. And I already have a diagonal here again. And now I can get this out and cut. And I will have to do the same on this side. Let me get this out of here. So cut, stack. I'm going to go with that one through the machine again, obviously. Diagonal. Need this one here. Make sure it goes in on both sides. And let me get this through the machine again. That's fine. That's okay. You're moving? So cut, stack, diagonal. Continue placing the diagonal here. And I'm going to need a little bit more diagonal here. What the heck did I do? I didn't go enough. Ay. There we go. Remember, it can be refilled. That's not a problem. All these areas can get filled and refilled and again. So this is too much here. Okay, this is too hard to explain. Let me try a different way. Might work better for explanation. See, this is the why sometimes I have to tape and retape a tutorial several times, because it doesn't look good and it's hard to explain. What I can do when I'm by myself and something for me. Oh, you're trying to find the house. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to use only this, okay? So, because it might be easier to work with it. Going to cut this one in two as well, and I have this, and it's going to go on the bottom, right? Let me get each of these. I'm going, so it's two stacks, a stack of two on each of these. I'm cutting a diagonal, and I'm coming all the way to the top here. All the way to the top here. See, here it's flat. Again, I'm continuing the flat, right? On both sides. Same, continuing the flat on both sides. Now I have this, and I can first of all get it flat here. I really need to go to to order, at least from Hobby Lobby, one of these. And then the extra from here. So I have this now. The thing is that these have to come all the way here, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut on the sides this and this. So now these can go in here, right? So now we have a much better understanding of what's going on. Now if this comes right here, I need filler here, I need some triangles here, but look, I already have the triangles from here, yay. So I'm going to just place them in here. They got a little smashed in because, as I said, the clay is very soft. And then let me get this again through the machine. Okay, so I have this here. I still need one line pretty much here. Actually might be two to be on the safe side. Cut this in half, stack. And if you see, this is a diagonal like this, so this one, number one, it's a little bit too long, so, but I'm going to cut one diagonal this way and one diagonal this way. And now I can place this one right here. Gosh, I hate this clay, this black clay. Horrible. No, it's the clay itself, Galen. It's not the warmth. It's the same as we had and I talked about this before. It's the same softness that we had in the whites last year. I am going to leach it, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to help any at all. Okay. And obviously, see here, I still need some filler right in this corner here. So ball. No, it's not. I mean, I have the AC going, so it's not the heat. It is a pleasant 73 degrees in here. I just said that I had to turn the AC down a bit once I turned on the computer in this room, because otherwise it's quite hard to keep up. Okay, so if we have this here, see how I still need a little bit here. I might need an extra slice from here. or pretty much about a slice. Where do you live? Antarctica? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to try and leach this black, because the one that I had before, it was like with the white. It didn't help at all. At all. So we'll have to wait and see how the whole thing works. And in order to not get a lot of deformation, I'm going to make the pretty much snakes, not sausages. I mean, much thinner, because that way I can fill all kinds of little spaces. Yeah, you're not a bowl of dust like we are here, Jessica. Galen, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But no, it's not the Oklahoma heat. It's just whatever they did to this clay, whatever recipe they used and changed and whatever. Okay, now here I have some stuff to fill. And one more. And I should be good. Of course, with this clay I'm gonna get a lot of deformation and lose quite a bit of clay. So we are good to go. Let me start the reducing. Yeah, improved. Why is it that nowadays every time they say that something is new and improved, it's actually worse than it was before? I mean, it's a given. Once I get it a little bit smaller, I'm gonna actually cut it in two to be easier to reduce, because it's a little bit too big for my hands. All the issues I have with my hands, it's a tad too big. Or now with blah blah blah, because it's the width thing that's going to mess up everything. Okay, let me try and cut some of it, because my fingers are already hurting, so I need to come all the way here. There we go. And yes, if I were to work it not during a live, I would get quite a bit of waiting. I would put this from time to time in the fridge to let it cool some. So let me just get half of this. It's going to be enough to show what I'm trying to show you. And of course you can put more stuff in here. I just want it to look like a little painting of some sort. Thank you, Shell. As I said before, the story of my nails is a long story. I was born with very, very hard nails, and they are a pain to trim. But then I got, when I went through chemo, they left ridges like this, and they are not very nice looking without nail polish on top. You kind of can see, and I've never had white fingernails. They were always yellowish because of how thick they are. They are so thick that they start, as they grow, they start curling like claws. See? Whenever they grow too long. So I used to a while ago. Now that, and the chemo also weakened them some. My fingernails never really broke a lot, but after I had chemo, when they break in the middle, going towards the quick, towards the nail bed, and I have to catch it in time before it. Yeah, my mom's were even thicker than mine. They were over 1 millimeter thickness. Mine are, I don't know, maybe like 3/4 of a millimeter. And before, I used to be able to like butcher a lamb with my bare hands. Because of my fingernails, I could practically cut. They were quite a weapon. So once, about every, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks, I have to struggle with the toenail clipper to trim them down, because my hands being so weak, when I have to clip them down, it's it's hard. Yeah, my mom used to be the terror of the nail salons of the neighborhood. Whenever they would see her coming in, they would try to hide, because she would always break their utensils because of how thick her fingernails were. Okay, you know what? Let me do this even smaller. And I'm going to cut half of it to make it smaller, because it's nicer to show it when it's much smaller than this. Okay. See how it starts coming. And that's why I said, if you want to do something that's like no, mine, even without nail polish, they are not white. They are yellowish. You know how the healthiest teeth are not white, they are yellowish? That's pretty much the same thing for fingernails. But as I was saying, I told you last time that if you want to do something, and you can use each of these, whatever remnants you have, to make pretty bead coverings. But if you want to make something that looks like the Victorian style cobalt china porcelain, you can use white instead of black, and just simply use various, you can do little Skinner blends from the cobalt blue. Add on one end a little bit of white, but don't make it fully white, right? Just make it a little bit lighter blue. And then create all these little designs, and then you can make beads that look like if they were made out of porcelain. Okay, so now remember, in order to create this, you need one of the ends, one of the triangle angles to be at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to have to get, and I want this one to be at a 90 degrees angle. So I'm going to start to gently deform this to a 90 degrees angle, right? Because it has to be an isosceles triangle, that means with the two sides equal, that has a right angle. So this one needs to be a little bit more longer. Let's see, we are pretty good. Almost there. And you can place your acrylic block to help you achieve the 90 degrees triangle. Yeah, I'll look for that. Thank you, Susan. Let me turn it the other way to do the same thing. So why I said the acrylic block, because you can hold it, and that way you definitely have a 90-degree angle. Okay, and now we are pretty much ready to get to the final thing. So let me get this through the machine a few times to create a base. And by the way, when you do this kind of stuff, the remnants are great for burgellos and for twirly beads. Now, Colleen, a clarity issue would be because of your try to set the video to at least 720p. Okay, now of course you can get much smaller than this and do, you can do this directly into a square and continue, so you can reduce it even smaller. But let's see why it is a brocade. Remember when I first started this 2 weeks ago, I said that a brocade is something that the design is created by the triangular slice. If you flip it vertically, horizontally, you will create the design, and the whole thing is to find where the triangle is. So let's see what design this thing gives us. Okay, it's going to be a little bit flattish because it's soft and there isn't really time to put it in the fridge to cool off. So the triangles won't be perfectly triangles. I mean the perfectly, as I said, the 90 degrees, two sides equal. Let me make this a little bit thinner. Okay, let's start arranging some. And I'm going to try and do this by hand. I mean, fix this little. Now the thing will be to get these exactly as they are. Let me put this in zoom so you can see better. There we go. Just make sure that each of these corresponds to what it's supposed to correspond to. And why is it a triple effect? Because now you have this in the middle. But as I continue to place these things, sorry, the other way. See what happens? We are getting new designs. That's another rectangle forming. And see how delicate it is. Of course, you don't have to start, as I said, with as much clay as I'm doing, because when I'm doing this, I'm doing it a little bit more. I'm using a little bit more clay so that it's more visible to what exactly I'm doing. And again, it would be much better. You need to leave this in the fridge so you'd get these all perfectly straight. Now, of course, it gets much easier to place if you go, as I said, if you go half and you create a, you don't even have to create, depends on how small you want to make it, but you can create a simple square that's going to make stuff easier to place for you. Just make sure that you check both ends to be perfectly aligned. And see, it's not perfectly square, so I'm going to squarify it a little bit. So that when you start placing them, and then, as I said, you can make it even smaller than this, the rectangle, just placing these to make the rectangle, or even these to make it much smaller. Depends on how big you want your design to be. So I'll show you that like this, it's much easier to place if you create at least the basic rectangle for this size. See how it creates a new design here. Sorry, it's got very sticky. The clay is very sticky right now. And if we go on this, it's going to create another center design here. And see how that little thing on the side, how it just adds more character to the whole thing. Of course, as I said, you need to get them properly cut and cooled off so you can get proper slices, but pretty much this is how the whole thing comes out. And as I said, you can use these, just make them very small. Get this off. Just make them very small, and then you can create them either as a triangle and then put a make them into a square, or make them into a kaleidoscope cane, and that should work just as well. No, not you, I didn't want to. There we go. There we go. But this is pretty much, and you see how you can create really beautiful stuff, not just in terms of jewelry, but in terms of decorations. Think about how a photo frame would look like, how a little box would look like, and it's all just playing with skinner blends. You saw, it's nothing else but playing with skinner blends, just arranging them pretty haphazardly. See, they don't look like much when you look at them like this, but once you start placing them, they look beautiful. And again, if you don't have one of those fancy cane cutters, cane slicers, it's enough to get that sanding wand. And even if your slices are not perfectly equal, after you place them and you bake them, just use the sanding wand. Start with an 80 and then go 120, 180, 200, 400 and so on, and you'll get a perfectly beautiful. And the way that it is like this, if you do it on black, it's going to look like inlaid ebony. And if you want to try with pearlescence or mica clays, make sure that you place a little bit of color in them. Do not leave them pure pearlescent / mica, because if you do that, you're going to get the dull side. But for example, mix some cadmium yellow in the gold, mix some of the green or the ancient with the green pearl or the ancient gold, mix some regular green, or stuff like that, because in the white pearl mix a little bit of white, because that way you will still get the shine and the iridescence from the mica clay, but without it getting at all times dull and completely disappearing when you move it. So that's going to be just great. So this was the last part, and next Sunday we'll get back to flowers and we'll make sunflowers. And hopefully this coming week I'm going to start posting tutorials. We'll see how things go. As I said, I'm feeling much better and more energetic, but I'm not there yet. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for being here with me. Take a good care of yourselves, and especially with everything that's going on. Do not forget, COVID-19 is still out there. Most of us, we are elderly ladies with all kinds of other issues, so try to take care of yourselves. Okay, thank you so much. I love you all. Have a wonderful week.